The galactic wind carried whispers of betrayal across the void, and Kendall stood on the bridge of the Vengeance Ascendant, watching those whispers become screams. For 200 years, humanity had played by the Council's rules. They had bent their knees, paid their tributes, and swallowed their pride while the Galactic Council, that supposedly enlightened consortium of elder species, dictated Earth's place in the cosmos. Kendall had grown up hearing stories of how humanity had begged for membership, how they had been granted the lowest tier of citizenship, treated as little more than useful primitives good for manual labor and resource extraction. Roman had warned her this day would come. They see us as pets, he had said 15 years ago, when they were both young officers in Earth's fledgling stellar navy, domesticated animals that serve a purpose. But pets can bite, Kendall, and humanity has very sharp teeth. She hadn't believed him then. She had faith in diplomacy, in the promise that if humanity proved itself worthy, the Council would grant them true equality. Roman had always been the cynical one, the strategist who saw patterns in politics that she missed. While she studied xenobiology and cultural integration, he had buried himself in military history and game theory. The betrayal came on a Tuesday Earth Standard Time. The Council had summoned Earth's diplomatic envoy to the Grand Convergence Station, promising a historic vote on humanity's elevation to second-tier status. Ambassador Chen had taken humanity's best and brightest, including Kendall's younger sister. They had gone with hope in their hearts and flowers in their hands, ready to celebrate a new era of cooperation. The Council had vaporized the entire station. 3,000 humans, along with Ambassador Chen and Kendall's sister, turned to atoms in an instant. The Council claimed it was a terrorist attack by an unknown faction. But the evidence Roman's intelligence network uncovered told a different story. The Council had planned it. They had grown fearful of humanity's rapid technological advancement, worried that these upstart primates would one day challenge their authority. So they had decided to cull the herd before it grew too strong. They had made a fatal miscalculation. What the Council didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that humanity had been preparing for this possibility since the day they first encountered alien life. Roman had seen to that. While serving as Admiral of Earth's 6th Fleet, he had quietly built a shadow armada, hidden in the asteroid fields and dark matter clouds beyond the Council's surveillance. He had recruited engineers, scientists, and soldiers who understood that trust was a luxury humanity couldn't afford. When news of the massacre reached Earth, Roman had activated Protocol Nightfall. Now, Kendall watched through the viewscreen as humanity's true fleet emerged from quantum tunnels across the galaxy. Thousands of warships, each one incorporating technology that humanity had supposedly been too primitive to develop. Kinetic rail cannons that could shatter moons, quantum disruptors that could tear apart the very fabric of space-time, and the Reaper-class dreadnoughts. Roman's masterpiece ships, so massive they generated their own gravitational fields. All fleets reporting ready, Admiral Kendall said, though she still found it strange to address Roman by his rank. He stood at the center of the command deck, his face carved from stone, his eyes holding a cold fire that she had never seen before. The Council worlds, he asked. 27 major systems. Population centers identified. Their defense fleets are scrambling, but they're in disarray. They never expected this. Roman nodded slowly. They thought we were weak. They thought destroying our diplomats would make us bow our heads lower. They forgot that humans are at their most dangerous when backed into a corner. Kendall felt a shiver run down her spine. This wasn't the Roman she had known in the academy. The one who would stay up late debating philosophy and dreaming of a peaceful galaxy. War had changed him. Loss had hardened him. Or perhaps this had always been inside him, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Sir, she said quietly, the civilian populations on those worlds, many of them had nothing to do with the Council's decision. Roman turned to her, and for a moment, she saw the old friend beneath the Admiral's mask. I know, Kendall. Believe me, I know. But the Council made their choice when they murdered 3,000 of our people in cold blood. They wanted to send a message. Now we send ours. He raised his hand, and the bridge fell silent. All ships. Roman's voice echoed across the fleet's communication network, reaching every human soul in every vessel. This is Admiral Roman Chen, speaking for Earth and all her children. Today, we were betrayed by those who claim to be our betters. Today we learned that peace is a privilege extended only to the strong. The Galactic Council believed humanity would accept their massacre. They believed we would grieve and submit. His hand became a fist. They were wrong. For every human they killed, we will exact justice. For every dream they shattered, we will shatter worlds. Let the galaxy know humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. And humanity will never kneel again. All ships, Kendall heard herself saying, her voice steady despite the tears on her cheeks. Weapons free. Engage. The darkness of space erupted in light. Humanity's fleet fell upon the Council worlds like an ancient god's wrath. Kendall watched the tactical displays as defense stations evaporated. As mighty Council warships, vessels that had dominated the galaxy for millennia, were torn apart by weapons they had never imagined possible. The elder species had grown complacent in their superiority, while humanity had spent 2 centuries learning, adapting, and preparing for this exact moment. Within 6 hours, the Council's military capability was reduced to scattered remnants. Within 12, their government centers were burning. The species that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years found themselves suddenly facing extinction at the hands of the primitives they had dismissed. Roman stood motionless throughout it all, watching the destruction with eyes that held no satisfaction, only grim determination. Kendall understood then what this was costing him, the weight of all those deaths on his soul. He was becoming the monster the Council had feared, proving them right, even as he proved them wrong. That as the last Council flagship exploded in a cascade of nuclear fire, Roman finally spoke again, his voice barely a whisper. "Let the survivors tell the story," he said. "Let them tell the galaxy what happens when you betray humanity." Kendall looked at the man who had been her friend, who had become something else entirely in the name of justice and revenge. The Council had betrayed Earth, but in answering that betrayal, humanity had lost something to. The galaxy would never be the same, neither would they.